This is the evolution of Animesh Pradhan. It took him 1.5 years to reach from the stage of beginner to the stage of AIR 2. This is the level of the understanding of the demand accompanied by proper presentation, which takes you to the level of the topper. Without having your own style and without having your own methodology and the thought process, you can't write at the level of the topper. So this was the first answer that he wrote on 18th of February 2022. After writing these 38 SMs in his last Samachar Manthan, which he wrote on 17th of January 2023, from beginner, he reached to the level of the rank holder. This is the answer which he wrote before the mains, that is on 27th of August 2023. If you also similarly wish to be Animesh Pradhan of 2026, this is the time where you start. Good evening, all of you. Today we will be having a webinar on the answer writing bootcamp. Basically, those who are preparing for 2026, today I will be giving you the roadmap as to from where you have to start your answer writing. Firstly. Secondly, how to start your answer writing. And thirdly, how to improve upon your answer writing. Okay? So basically, the first aspect of today's webinar will be how to start. The second, from where to start. And third, how to improve. Okay. So I'll be providing you with the proper roadmap with respect to these three things. Right? So let's start. So firstly, see, answer writing is considered as the art. The fundamental thing why answer writing is considered as an art. Okay. So it is, if you see, it is the reflection of your skills, your aptitude, your knowledge, and your practice or hard work or commitment. Right? Any art form is the reflection of these four aspects only. Right? It is the reflection of your skill. It is the reflection of your talent. It is the reflection of your knowledge. And it is the reflection of your hard work or the commitment. Right? You won't find a single artist who has prepared a masterpiece in his very first attempt. Right? It takes years of practice. Okay? It takes the in-depth knowledge of that particular field. It takes the inborn talent and it takes the skills. Right? So similarly, answer writing is also the form of the art. Okay? So just like an answer writing or any other art form, there are 5 components which makes any of the art form a masterpiece. For example, the first one is the composition and structure. If you see in any of the art form, each and every art form that you see, there is a proper with respect to the composition and structure. The composition and structure basically means the process, the methodology, and the structure. So each and every art form has the proper process. If you take a dance form, for example, the Bharatanatyam, there is a very elaborate process from the entry to the end of the dance form. Similarly, if you take the example of a painting, right, you don't directly draw this kind of the painting. Right? There is a proper process, there is a proper methodology, and there is a proper structure which you have to use in order to develop a proper painting. Right? First, you develop the contours, or you just prepare a brief sketch, preparing the boundaries of it, right? And then through the gradual process of refinement, you will end up with your final output or the final painting, right? Similarly, in the art form, there is a similar structure which you need to understand and which you need to follow very rigorously in a very disciplined way in order to write the good answers. There has to be the consistency in your answers, okay, with respect to the structure. If you see, there are the three aspects with respect to the composition or structure of the answer writing. Yeah. The very fundamental concept in which you need the theoretical understanding is the IBC framework. Yeah. Can anybody tell me what is IBC framework? It is a very fundamental thing in answer writing. The first thing that you learn in answer writing is the IBC framework. Can anyone tell me what is the IBC framework? Yes. Intro, body, conclusion. Very good. Read. Intro, body, conclusion. Right. This is the first step. Firstly, you need the theoretical understanding in all these three aspects. With respect to the introduction, what are the different types in which you can introduce your answer? With respect to the main body, how many points you have to write? What are the subpoints that you have to cover? What are the frameworks that you have to use? And third is with respect to the conclusion. That is the first thing that you need to understand in the answer writing. Second, in order to properly structure your answer as per the demand, what you need is the demand understanding based upon the directives, right? So there are different directives. For example, there are directives like discuss, elaborate, explain, right? On the other hand, the other directives include the analyze, critically analyze, examine, evaluate, right? Third, the opinion-based directive where they ask, do you agree? Do you think? Or in your opinion? So on a broader level, there are these three kinds of the directives. So you need to understand the exact meaning of each of the directive. Only if you understand the exact meaning, you can prepare a proper structure. For example, suppose your directive is to discuss, elaborate, or explain a particular statement. You have to follow the 80-20 formula. That is 80% of your space or 80% of the space given to you should go to elaboration of that particular statement. And remaining 20% you can go for the counter argument. Similarly, if the directive is analyze, critically analyze, examine, or evaluate, right? For this, you follow the 50-50 formula. That is, you give the equal weightage to the argument as well as the counter argument, right? Similarly, if the directive is opinion based, you follow the 60-40 formula, where 60% of the space or 6 points will go to the your opinion. That is, if you are agreeing, you write 6 points in agreement. If you are disagreeing with it, you write 6 points in that, and remaining 4 points into the counter argument, right? So for that, you need the theoretical understanding of the different kinds of the directives. Only with that, you can have the proper structure of the answer. And third, once you understand this framework, IBC framework, and the structuring framework based upon the demands of the question, the only thing that remains is to prepare the points where you need to have the dimensions framework, right? So with respect to the composition and structure, just like in any art forms, in answer writing, there are 3 steps. So let's go into the detail of those steps. For example, this is the first step of the IBC framework, right? So in IBC framework, first the introduction. So in that, what you simply need to understand is the length and types. Yeah, that's it. So the length of the introduction should be maximum of 3 to 4 lines. Yeah. And these are the types of the introduction. So it should be properly consolidated into the mind. These are just the 6 ways in which I can introduce the answer. Okay, so as soon as you read the question, or if you are following any of the notes, or if you are reading any of the topic, it should come to your mind that, okay, this is the quote. So if I get a question with respect to this particular theme, I will go with the data-based introduction. This is what we call as the exam-oriented approach of studying, right? So it should be properly embedded into your minds. Similarly, while writing the answer also, as soon as you read the question, immediately you need to think whether I should go for the quote or data or definition or context or history or rephrasing of the question. And if you see, this is the definition-based introduction. There are just 6 types in which you can start your answer. So this answer is of Aditya Srivastava. And this is the answer of Animesh Pradhan. If you see, question is same. Okay, the citizen charter, the question is on the citizen charter. Okay, there is no change in the question. The question is same. But Aditya Srivastava has started with definition of the citizen charter. It is a commitment by an organization to the standard and quality of the service delivery. Whereas Animesh Pradhan has started with the history of it. It started in 1990s by John Major. He has started with its origin or its history. Similarly, if you see again the same question, the question is on the emotional intelligence. So here, Animesh has started with the definition of it. Whereas Aditya has gone with the quote. Right? This is how you integrate the different aspect of the answer writing into your studies and into your answer writing. You want to go beyond this. See, there are just 6 ways in which you can do the introduction. Okay, next, if you see, this is with respect to the corruption. Again, Animesh Pradhan has started with the definition of the corruption. Okay, whereas Aditya Srivastava has gone for the fact-based or the data-based introduction, where he has given the features of the Prevention of Corruption Act. Right, again, same question, different types of the introduction. But overall framework remains the same. Okay, that is definition. This is data. This is quote. And this is history. The one is the context-based introduction, where the traditional theatre forms. The question is from art and culture and traditional theatre forms. But what he has done, he has provided the context-based introduction by providing the current affairs related news. Recently, Ramlila and Mudiyattu were rewarded as the intangible heritage and are already there in the UNESCO intangible list. Right. So this is the contextual introduction. And the last is, suppose you are not able to recall the definition, or if you don't have the data, or if you don't know about the history of that particular theme, what you do, you simply rephrase the question. So this is the answer of Ishita Kishore. Okay, the question is on discuss how cultural traditions from various regions of India gets reflected in regional music. Right. So India's rich and diverse cultural traditions are evident in the regional music of its motherland. Nothing, she had just rephrased the question. This is also fine. Right. So you need to consolidate into your mind and into your head that these are the 6 ways in which I can introduce my answer. And while reading anything or while writing anything, all you need to think about from which, by using which of the aspect I will be introducing my answer. So that's the with respect to the introduction. Second is with respect to the main body. Yeah. So in main body, what you have is the SES framework. SES as in the subheading, the elaboration, and the substantiation. Okay, so for every point that you will be writing, every point contains three aspects. It's not just that you are writing the political angle, economic, social. Every point has three different aspects. One is the subheading, where you highlight the keyword or you highlight the particular stakeholder or particular sector. Second, you provide a brief elaboration where you link that particular subheading with the theme of the question, right? And third aspect is this part is your opinion which you give, right? And this substantiation is the fact that you give to back your opinion, right? If you see this is the answer of Aditya Srivastav. What he has done, he has used the keywords at the beginning of the statement and made them as his subheadings. And for every point, he has tried to substantiate it using the example or the committees. And this will come gradually. Okay, once we discuss all the aspects, I will tell you how you are going to improvise and how you can reach from the level of the beginner to the level of the topper. Right. So first, I just want you to understand the theoretical aspects of the answer writing. Because similarly, yes, so see, if you see this is the very first answer that Animesh wrote, okay, in 2022. If you see, there is no structure. Okay, it was the very lengthy introduction of around 10 to 12 points. Then there is no proper segregation of the points. Within points also, there is no segregation of the substantiation and elaboration aspect. Right? If you compare the answer of the Aditya Srivastav, each point is of maximum 3 lines, whereas Animesh at the beginning has written the points of about 5 to 7 lines. That has made the difference in a sense that it is a 15 marker question. So he has 3 pages, but even in 3 pages, he was able to cover only 8 dimensions. Right? But with the proper framework, even for the 10 points or the 10 marker question where you get only 2 points, 2 pages, okay, Aditya was able to cover 10 points. So at the beginning, Animesh was able to write only 8 points in the 15 pages. Okay, in the 15 marker question, that is 3 pages. But Aditya has written 10 points in 2 pages. Okay, similarly, if you see the answers of this Animesh also, okay, this was the answer which he wrote on 27th of August 2023. That is just before the mains. It is again a 10 marker question. But even in 10 marker question, he was able to cover 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14 points. And even in each point, if you can see, there is a proper substantiation by either using the data or by using the examples. Right. So this is the basic theoretical understanding that you need to have with respect to the structure of the dimensions or structure of the points. Okay. So the SES framework with respect to the points. Remember, subheading, elaboration, substantiation. Okay. Is it clear? And last part is with respect to your conclusion. Yeah, again, it should be very brief of maximum of 2 lines. And secondly, it should be optimistic and futuristic. Okay. At any cost, you need to avoid the negative conclusions. Okay. Within it also, you have the simple points which you can keep in mind. As for example, in introduction, you have these 6 points or these 6 ways in which you can introduce your answer. Right. Similarly, with respect to the conclusion, again, the majority of the aspirants, what they do, or even the toppers, what they do, they simply provide the objective based conclusion. Right. Objective based as in they simply link their conclusion with the government policy objectives or the global policy objectives. Similarly, global policy objectives like the SDG. So if you get a question with respect to the health, with respect to education, with respect to women, all you need to do is link with the specific SDGs. Or what you can do, you can go for the quote-based conclusions also. Similarly, for example, if you get the question with respect to the women, okay, you can conclude with the quote. You can give the quote of the Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. I measure the progress of the society by degree of progress that women have achieved. Thus, women empowerment is an imperative. That's it. Right? Or third, you link with the vision. Right? Like inclusive development or sustainable development or Viksit Bharat. So for example, with respect to the education, if you get the question, thus the skilled workforce is essential for realizing the vision of Viksit Bharat. That's it. That much is sufficient for the conclusion. Right? So you need to keep this in mind. Okay, so now from now onwards, whenever you are reading any of the topic, okay, you just need to identify the specific government policy and its objective. That's it. That automatically becomes your conclusion. Okay. So this is your IBC framework. Right. Then coming to the next part is the dimensions framework. Right. Now you have understood the first part. That is, in every answer, there you need to be the proper structure with respect to the introduction, main body, and conclusion. You have understood the total length of introduction, conclusion, and each point within the main body. Now, coming to the main body part, where you have to write maximum 70 to 80% of your content. Right. So there, how to generate the dimensions. Right. So basically, you will be following the SES framework. That is subheading, elaboration, substantiation. And in that, what you need to ensure that in every 10 marker question, you need to have minimum of the 10 points. And in 15 marker, you need to have minimum of 15 to 18 points. Right. And when this is not possible at the beginner level, automatically when you practice for around 1 or 2 months, when you complete your big 5, and when you move on to the advanced stage, at that stage, what you have to do for every micro theme, you simply have to assign the frameworks. That is, there are different frameworks, the pestle, stakeholder, temporal. Even you will discuss your answers with the mentor. While discussing, he will give you the suggestions with respect to the frameworks. Right. With the application of these frameworks, you will be able to generate sufficient amount of the dimensions. Right. Because see, for 10 marker, you get maximum of 7.5 minutes. And for 15 marker, you get maximum of 11 to 12 minutes to write the answer. So you have very limited time to think and process all the content that you have. Right. So rather than processing the entire content that you have, all you need to do is understand the framework that you are going to apply. Right. For example, let's see. This is the answer of, again, Animesh Pradhan, where he has applied the sectional approach. Right. So if you can see in the way forward, yeah, so benefits by the ESG norms. He has simply classified his points based on environment, social, governance. That's it. So within environment, the points are very simple. Sustainable development, environmental consciousness, preservation of flora and fauna, that is preservation of biodiversity, and limiting climate change. Right. You just read these points. You tell me whether those points are very extraordinary or very unique. These are very basic points. Right? Yes. Everyone agrees with me? Yes. So you read these points and tell me whether these points are the basic points or these are very extraordinary points which only the toppers can bring. Right? So these are very simple points. But what he has done, he has structured them properly and he has classified them under the proper section. Right? Within social also, if you see inclusive development, reducing inequality, and achieving the justice. Again, these are just the keywords. Right? If you see, there is no rocket science to it. These are not the extraordinary points, but because of the proper classification and with proper presentation and with proper structure, okay, even with this kind of or with this content, he was able to get 136 marks in the ethics. Right? Similarly, if you see, this is the answer of Shruti Sharma. Right? If you see, all she has done is the use of the stakeholder approach. Right? So what they have asked the question, Indian culture has got much influenced by the foreign cultures as it is influenced by them. Right? So you tell me what are the different aspects of the culture. Right? So different aspect of the culture includes your religion, your knowledge, your language, your attire, your food habits, right? Your the entertainment aspects like dance, music, etc. Right? These are the stakeholders into your, what you can say, the culture. Like what she has done, she has used these stakeholders as the subheading and provided a brief elaboration and the example. That's it. So this is how you have to apply the frameworks. That will come at the advanced stage. At the first level, all you need to do is mastery the IBC framework. That is the first step. That will take around 2 months. Once you do that, at the advanced level, you move on to the dimension generation, where you will understand these approaches. Right? This. Then, if you see, if you properly master the IBC framework, because this was the answer of the Animesh, which he wrote into his first Samachar Manthan. It was in, I think, February 2022. Yeah. And this was the answer which he wrote into his last Samachar Manthan, which was in January 2023. Now, if you see, the introduction has come down to the 4 lines with specific data-based introduction. Similarly, for every point, there is a segregation of the heading and the proper subheading. Right? Then you can also see the substantiation using the data or specific example. Right? Then again, conclusion has come down with the linking to the objective. So for the same 15 marker question in 3 pages, where at the beginning he was able to write just 8 points, in his last Samachar Manthan he was able to cover 10 and 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 points, which was our benchmark. Right? And to reach this level, all you need to do is continuous practice. Right? Now, coming to the second aspect of the art. Right? So we have understood the composition and the structure. Right? Any doubts with respect to the composition and the structure? Simple. You need to remember IBC framework. Right? And within it, all you need to understand is the space that you are going to take for each and or the length and its types. Second, with respect to the main body, you need to understand the SES framework. And third, with respect to the demand, you need to understand the meaning of the directives. So this is the first step that you are going to implement in your answer writing. Right? Forget about the content. I am not even talking about the content as of now. But this is the first pillar of the answer writing. Okay, content will come at the later on. Okay, first, you need to understand the proper composition and the structure or the methodology of the answer writing. Right? And that's why we have the Samachar Manthan, where every week you get a current affairs notes, a lecture, and only when you read that, you watch the lectures, when you get the complete understanding of that particular topic, we give you the test of the Samachar Manthan. Right? And in that test, for the first 2 months, we focus upon this aspect. That is composition and structure, because it is static. Once you understand the meaning of the directives, that is going to stay with you forever. Right? Once you understand the SES framework and once you practice that sufficiently, or once you properly consolidate the IBC framework, right, that is going to stay with you forever. That is the fundamental skills of the answer writing. Right? Now, second, once you understand that, now you will be moving to the advanced level. That is, you will be moving towards the presentation and the innovation. Right? So with respect to the aesthetic appeal or the presentation, so when at the beginning, when I asked the question, why answer writing is an art, so majority of you told that it is because of the presentation. Right? So it is a presentation in a sense that answer writing is not just the reflection of your knowledge, where you just dump the information. Right? Along with the knowledge, it is also the reflection of your skills. Yeah. And the artist within it, and which is reflected to the presentation. And within presentation, the one single aspect that you need to keep in mind. Okay. So see, presentation helps you in 3 aspects. One, to bridge your content deficit. Right. The second aspect is to improve the visibility of your key points. And third is to highlight the brownie points. That is, to take the attention of the evaluator to the key points that you have written and where you want the attention of the evaluator. Right? So let's see how it is done. Right? For example, this is the dance. Right? So this is, what is this? Can anyone tell me? Which dance form is the first one? Yes? Anyone? What is this dance form? The first one. Yes, it is Bharatanatyam. What is the second one? The second one. Yes, it is Manipuri. And the third one is Kathakali. Right. So if you see, within the dance form, if you go by the basic understanding of the dance, right? What is the basic understanding of the dance? It is the movement of your body, right? So the basic meaning of the dance is the bodily movement, right? So that means a good dancer should have the proper skills to move his body as per the rhythms or as per the beats, right? So even if you have the proper bodily movements, or even if you have the skill or aptitude of the dance, you are not considered as the great artist. Yeah. As long as you don't mastery the presentation or the aesthetic aspects of the dance. Right? For example, So the proper attire, right, with respect to the Bharatnatyam or Manipuri or Kathakali, right, to make it a proper dance, you need proper attire, the makeup, and apart from the bodily movements, you need to master the expressions, right? Similarly, in the answer writing, it's not just the dumping of the information or writing of the points. It's the visibility of the keywords and the aesthetic appeal, right? Your answer ऐसा लगना चाहिए कि पढ़ने का मन करना चाहिए, right? It's not just, it should not be the boring aspect where I'm just reading and providing the mark. It should be interesting. So if you see, for example, this is the answer of Aditya Srivastav. With this answer, he wrote in 2022. Okay. Again, if you see there, this answer has the proper information. Okay, for example, the question says, fundamental right chapter of the Constitution is the North Star of the universe of constitutionalism. Examine. Right. So directive is examine. That is, he will be applying 50-50. That is, he will be explaining the significance of the fundamental rights and he will be highlighting the limitations of it. Right. So with respect to the weightage, it is fine. With respect to the structure also, introduction, brief, conclusion, it is fine. With respect to content also, it is fine. For example, he has provided the proper substantiation. He has provided the data. Right. He has provided the examples. Content wise also it's fine. But the aesthetic aspect or the presentation aspect is missing. Because of just his content and because of his proper structuring, in 2022 itself, he became an IPS. Right. So in that year, in 2023 itself, he became an IPS. In 2022. Right. So with the proper content, with the structure, it will take you to the rank of 200 or 300. But to get into the top 10, you need to accompany your content, your structure with proper presentation. This is the answer written by the same Aditya Srivastav, but it is written in 2023. Again, it is related to the pressure groups. But if you see now, there is a proper underlining of the keywords. There is the proper visibility of the substantiation aspect. Right. The dimension coverage remains same. The content remains same. Right. Again, the objective is linked to the conclusion is linked to the objective. Right. So with the similar structure, right. And again, the directive is also same. Okay. So weightage is also given is same. The dimension coverage is same, but only with respect to improvements in the presentation. That is highlighting the proper keywords, then segregating the points into the SES format and increasing the visibility of its keywords. Right. In 2023, he became AR1. Right. So the basic math behind it is the maximum mark that you will be getting in any of the answer is 5.5 to 5.75. Okay. So if you follow the beginner or if you write the below average, you get around 3.5 to 4. If you write average, you write around 4, you get around 4 to 4.5. If you write above average, you get around 5. So 4.75 to 5. So this was above average answer. So he got around 5, which gave him IPS. But to write at the topper level, you get 5.5 to 5.75. And that extra 0.5 or 0.75, that is the product of your presentation. Because content remains the same, structure remains the same. So extra 0.5, which is the subjective, okay, which is at the discretion of the evaluator. That comes if you make him happy, if you make evaluator happy, if you make his task easier by enhancing the visibility of the keywords, right? So yeah, if you see in this answer, yeah, automatically you won't be able to see where is his example, right? You won't be able to see the substantiation aspect के example कहाँ लिखा है and all, but यहाँ it is clearly visible. That makes your answer attractive and that gives you that point fixed, right? So this is the presentation aspect. And similarly, if you see this is Animesh, so with the same kind, so where in the questions where you have the multiple of the dimensions but limited of the space, you simply use the diagrammatic representation and go for the maximum dimensions coverage. If you see with respect to this particular answer, what he has done, he has used the diagrammatic representation. So it automatically helped him to reduce the size of the points. Because of that, he was able to cover maximum of the dimensions. If you see, this is a 10 marker question, but he was able to cover 18 dimensions into the answers, just by using the proper presentation. So 4 way forwards, around 8 steps taken, and around 6 issues, right? Just by using the proper presentation. This is how the presentation helps. Right. Then similarly, if you see this is Shruti Sharma, see how beautiful the answer looks. Right. So the question reads, cities are economic powerhouse, but they also act as ecological block holes. So this is the data-based introduction. Then cities as economic powerhouse, 4 points very briefly. Again, there is a proper substantiation using the data. Right. Then ecological block holes, again 3 points with proper substantiation. Then discuss how positive and negative aspects of urbanization interact with each other. Right. First, she has gone for the positive aspects and negative aspects. And then she has shown the interaction using the line diagram. This is how your presentation, this is again the interaction. This is where your skills or the presentation aspects helps you. Let's, if you see, she has covered each and every keyword. She has addressed each and every keyword. That too with proper management of the space and the dimension coverage. Again, in this also, if you can see, there is a proper visibility of her keywords. Right? You can clearly see where she has given the examples. There is a proper understanding of the demand, that is the interaction between the positive negative aspects of the urbanization. So for interaction, again, we use the diagram highlighting the interlink. Right? So this is the level of the understanding of the demand accompanied by proper presentation, which takes you to the level of the topper. Right? Next aspect is the creativity and innovation. Again, for the great, if you want to be a great artist, you need to have your own style. You need to have your own method. Okay, so every great artist, you take the name of every great artist, they have their own distinctive style. They have their own distinctive method. They have their own distinctive mindset or thought process. This is the second level. The first level is you consolidate the basics. Then you move on to the advanced stage where you develop your own style. Right? For example, let's take this. Everyone knows Sky, Surya Kumar Yadav. Okay, as soon as the name Sky comes, you remember his hoop shot. Right? So that is his own style. Right? Similarly, as soon as the name Leonardo da Vinci comes, you automatically remember the painting of the Mona Lisa. Right. Similarly, as soon as, I don't know if you have heard the name of that particular artist, he was a very great artist with a very great significance in the medieval history, Michelangelo. He has drawn the sculpture of this Adam. Okay, he has, if you ever get a time, you read about his this the history, okay, and his art forms and the significance of it. So the point is, without having your own style and without having your own methodology and the thought process, you can't write at the level of the topper. If you see, every topper has his own distinctive style of writing. So for example, if you see, this is the answer of the Ishita Kishore. So wherever the spatial dimension came, okay, she used the diagrammatic representation or the map-based representation. Similarly, Animesh, okay, the use of the diagrams. And this is Shubham Kumar, wherever the temporal aspect came, okay, he used this kind of the representation. Okay, so if you want to see, this is the style of writing of All India Rank 2 Akshat Jain. In majority of the answers, okay, after the introduction, he set the context by using a flow chart. Right? For example, if there is a question explaining the role of human capital in economic development, so the role of human capital in economic development, that he used the flow chart. Similarly, here, in the context of major challenges that have restricted industrial growth, major challenges restricting industrial growth, again a flow chart. Here also, adhering to fiscal discipline is considered as a hallmark of sound financial management, hallmark of sound financial management, flow chart. You will see his own style and you will see the consistent application of that particular style into the answer writing. So always in majority of the question, he has addressed the first demand with the flow chart. Similarly, if you see, this is Utkarsh Dwivedi. He has used this format for the context setting. Right. For example, this is the question, neither the mode of its inception nor provisions of Government of India Act was agreeable to the Indian opinion. Right. So the question is on the Government of India Act 1935. What he has done, he has set the context, the event leading to the Government of India Act 1935. And he has highlighted the history or the evolution or the chronology of it. Right. Similarly, Quit India Movement question, event leading to the Quit India Movement. Again, he has established the proper chronology. The point is, each and every topper have their own style, and you won't find that style into the answers of any other topper. Right. For example, if you see, this is Shruti Sharma. Again, apart from the visibility or the presentation aspect, rather than simply using the diagram, this is the way in which majority of the aspirants use the map. Right. But what she had done, she had reduced the length of her map and she had made it more elaborative. So rather than highlighting the map, she had reduced the size of the map, but she has provided more weightage or more space to the elaboration. And that makes her map more distinctive and more detailed. You see here again, if you read the question, the contribution of Bhakti movement to a development. So question is on the Bhakti movement. Right. So what she had done, she had used the map and highlighted the Bhakti saints in the different parts of India. Right. Similarly, here the question is on vulnerability of India to the landslides. Right. So again, a map. So India's vulnerability is majorly in Himalayas and in the Western Ghats. Using a map, she has given the reasons for it. Right. So this is how each and every topper has the distinctive style of the answer writing. Right. If you see, you won't find this kind of the structuring of the map in the answers of any other topper. Okay, then you won't find in any of the answers of the any other topper, the consistent application of the flowchart as you see in the Akshat Jain. Right? Similarly, you won't find this kind of the format used to set the context as used by Utkarsh. Right? Similarly, every topper has his own style, his own stamp. So as soon as you read the answer, you will be able to identify the topper who has written it. Right? So you also need to have you also need to develop such kind of your own style, okay, which makes your answer unique, distinctive from the others. Right? So that will improve your presentation and bring the creativity and innovation into your answers. Right? So this is Shruti Sharma. Right? So the fundamental is composition and structure. Right? Then the advance is presentation and creativity and innovation. Last two are the learning and knowledge and practice and refinement. Right? So this is the foundation of answer writing. Right? This is the enhancement stage. And this is the stage where you reach to the topper stage. Right? Then that means the learning and knowledge. Right? And it requires the consistency, the feedback, the learnings, and the applications. So application of those learnings into your next paper. Okay. So this is basically a process, right, where you need to have the consistency. For example, if you see, these are the Samachar Manthan answers written by Animesh Pradhan. Right? So every week there are 10 question tests of the Samachar Manthan. So in total, he has written 38 Samachar Manthan tests. So right from February 2022 to January 2023. Right? So he had written around 38 Samachar Manthans. He had written more, but he didn't submit for the evaluation. Right? So that is the level of the consistency that you need to maintain. Right? So first is the consistency. That is, you need to write the Samachar Manthan test of every week. Next is the feedback stage where you get the two level of the evaluation. That is, one, you get the evaluated copy where the evaluators evaluate that paper, and second, when you do the one-on-one discussion with your mentor. There you get the proper feedback with respect to your strengths and with respect to your weaknesses. And from that, you note down the learnings. Right? What mistakes you are making with respect to the IBC framework, SCS framework, or demand understanding. Based on that learning, you apply those learnings to the next test. And this is how you evolve with respect to answer writing. And again, I'm not saying that you write first Samachar Manthan, you get the feedback and you will be able to understand everything, and then in the second Samachar Manthan you will write the topper level answer. No. Okay, it's a process. That's why the consistency has to be there. Right? At the end of the session, when I will show you, even in January, when he wrote the tests of last Samachar Manthan, he didn't reach to the level of All India Rank 2. He reached to the level of this rank holder. Okay, but to reach to the level of AIR 2, it required more. How that will come into the next slides. Okay. Now, with respect to this aspect, the learning and knowledge. Again, knowledge is the continuous process. And it requires consistency and dedication. But he got the Bharat Ratna. Why? Because of his dedication, because of his knowledge depth in the music. And that required the consistency and dedication. If you see, this used to be his routine of the practice. Okay, for 5 years, he does the very arduous practice, full of menial tasks, punishments, okay, including okay, the practice of Raga Todi in morning, Raga Multani in afternoon, and Raga Priya in the evening. So on daily basis, he used to practice for around 7 to 8 hours for 5 years in a trot. And after that only he started doing the commercial music. Right. So you take any artist, it requires the consistency, dedication in order to achieve the mastery. Same is with the answer writing. And now if you see, yes, for 5 years. Right. This is the answer of Aditya Srivastav. And it took him consistent 2 years of practice to reach this level of the answer writing. So this answer is what I call as the complete answer. It has everything. It has the introduction using a reference of the book. Yeah. It has the examples for substantiation apart from the dimension coverage. It has the reference of the committees that are mentioned. Okay. It had the mention of the global best practices. And at the end, he also linked it to the history, that is Kautilya. So civil services is linked to the history. So from book, starting from the book, he ended with history, with the facts and the substantiation using specific examples, data, committee recommendations, global best practices. So this level of the knowledge you need to have in order to reach to the level of Aditya Srivastav. And it requires the consistent practice. Yes, what it takes to reach the level of this is one, the consistency with respect to the answer writing. The second, right set of resources. Because if you read the blog of any topper or see the video of any topper, the fundamental principle that each and every topper follow is the minimum resources and maximum revisions and practice. Okay, you take any topper, no topper will ever say, I have read 60 books, 70 books, 80 books, and I gained the knowledge and then I wrote the answer. No. Okay, it's a competitive exam. It's not just the test of your knowledge. It's not the PhD where you need the highest level of the knowledge. It's a competitive exam where you need the proper consolidation of your knowledge. Right? If you read 100 committees, you won't be able to recall even 10 of them. Right? So you need to keep your resources to the minimum and focus on the maximum revisions and practice. And that's precisely why we provide the X Factor notes. Right? So what you need to do is just for every theme, we have classified those X Factor notes based on the micro themes. We have covered each and every PYQ of last 10 years. So for every topic, along with the standard book, we provide the X Factor notes. And you have to rely only on that particular notes for that particular topic. So your resources are consolidated. You don't need to go beyond those resources. You know, there is no need to roam into the market to search for the resources. You have got your consolidated resources. All you need to do is do the value addition into these from the Samachar Manthan and from the newspaper. That's it. Your content part will be taken care of. Each and every content is there into these notes. All you need to do is read it, revise it, and then practice it. Right? So, listen, last, practice and refinement. Like I said, without consistency and without dedication, you can't achieve the mastery. Right? So for example, this is the martial art Kalaripayattu of Kerala. Right? It is included in the UNESCO Intangible World Heritage this list. Right? And to gain the mastery into the Kalaripayattu, you need 12 years of practice. Similarly, with respect to Bharatnatyam, to get the mastery into the Bharatnatyam, you need the practice of 5 to 8 years. Same thing with the UPSC. If you want to gain the mastery into the answer writing, you need the consistent practice of 1 year. This is precisely what Animesh did. And it is precisely why he was able to get All India rank 2 in his very first attempt. If you fail to maintain this level of the consistency, and if you fail to maintain, improve on your answer writing based on feedback from your mentors, okay, you will end up in the veteran trap, where you won't be able to clear the UPSC into your first or second or third attempt. Right? So consistency with respect to the writing, refinement, learning, and application of those learning. Okay? That. Now, let's understand the process, okay, that you will be following. Okay, so this is the process which Animesh followed. So if you are aiming for the 2026, okay, let's understand the process with which you will be starting your answer writing. So now this is the most important part of the webinar. So give an proper attention. Okay, so the step 1 is the theoretical understanding. Okay, the understanding of the IBC framework, SES framework, the demand, right? So everything that we discussed in the first part of our webinar, which is the theoretical understanding. Step 1 is first understand what exactly is the answer writing and its components. That will be done with the very first session that you will be having with your mentor. So your orientation session will give you the theoretical understanding. All you need to do is make the notes of it and revise it thoroughly on daily basis for a week. The second step is you will be starting your answer writing right from the first week. You can never make a mistake of, see, majority aspirants who are not able to clear the UPSC, they go with the mindset that they give the preference to the content and then they shift to the answer writing. Their mindset is that first I will build the content, first I will make the notes, first I will read everything or complete the syllabus, and then I will start answer writing. And trust me, that is the biggest mistake that you will be doing in your UPSC journey. Because you don't need to wait for syllabus completion, because कभी भी आपका syllabus complete होने वाला ही नहीं है. Right? The UPSC syllabus includes everything. Okay, it includes the history of past 2005 years. Okay, and it also includes the history of not history, it also includes the vision of next 30 years. Okay, so everything in that timeline comes into the history. So every historical development, every geographical development, every technological development, every social development, every political development, every economic development, everything is part of the history. Or everything is the part of your syllabus. Right? So you will basically never finish your syllabus. Okay, so avoid this blunder. Okay. So from the first week itself, you will be starting your Samachar Manthan, and the process is very simple. See, the first you will be getting the Samachar Manthan class. So you attend that class, you will be getting the conceptual clarity. You will be understanding that particular topic, right? You read the PDF as you have already understood that particular topic from the class. You read the PDF and then you attempt the tests. So basically, these tests won't be the test of your content or knowledge, but through this, because you won't face the content issue. क्योंकि आपने अभी अभी वो lectures देखे and you have read those PDFs. So it is a kind of the open book test, but it will help you in the first stage of the answer writing, which is consolidation of your structure, right? That then second is 2 level of the evaluation process. That is one by the evaluation team, and as soon as you get your evaluated copy, you send it to your mentor, and there will be one-on-one discussion of this, right? From this, you will get the feedback and you will note down the learnings, and that learnings you need to apply into your next test. When you do that on a consistent basis, after 3 to 4 months, you will end up writing good answers. For example, let me show you the evolution of answers of Animesh Pradhan. Okay, so this was the first answer that he wrote on 18th of February 2022. This is the first SM that he wrote. We already discussed this particular question. There is no structure to it, right? The introduction is too lengthy. Then dimensions are too big and very limited dimension coverage, lengthy elaboration and missing substantiation, right? Then with respect to the next aspect also, right? There is no committee recommendation. There is no global best practice or even the conclusion. It lacks keyword and it is too lengthy, right? So this is the beginner level of the Animesh, which was 18th February 2022, right? And then after writing these 38 SMs in his last Samachar Manthan, which he wrote on 17th of January 2023, from beginner, he reached to the level of the rank holder. Now you can see the proper structure. There is a proper objective based introduction, the proper segregation of each aspect of the answer, right? Proper segregation with the heading, and within the, you see the length of the points, right? So for the same 15 marker question, he was able to cover 4, 5, 9 and 5, 14 points, right? Again, there is a proper substantiation using the data examples. There is a proper dimension coverage and there is a proper conclusion. And on 17th of January 2023, that is in 1 year, from beginner, he reached to the level of the rank holder. This is not the level of AIR 1 or AIR 2. This is the level of the rank holder. So those who got into the holy list, okay, if you would have continued with the same answer, probably you would have got the rank of around 200 or 300. Like of Aditya Srivastav, the 2022 answer that we saw. Then afterwards, after the prelims, he moved on to the advanced stage where he focused more upon the substantiation aspect, and from there he reached to this level. So if you see, this is the 15 marker question and the dimensions that he covered was 4, 5, 9 and 14. And there was only 2 data and examples, or rather 3. But here, this is the answer which he wrote before the means, that is on 27th of August 2023. If you see, this is again the 10 marker question, but in 10 marker question, he was able to cover 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 points. So on January, he wrote 14 points for 15, but on August, he wrote 14 points for 10 marker. Then there is a diagram. There is a proper improvement in the presentation, right? Then there is a proper substantiation using the more examples, right? It took him 1.5 years to reach from the stage of beginner to the stage of AIR 2. Right? So this is the evolution of Animesh Pradhan. right? And if you also similarly wish to be Animesh Pradhan of 2026, right? This is the time where you start. So for Animesh, it was 18th of February 2022. Okay. And for you also, it is February 2025. If you start with this, if you maintain the dedication level of Animesh, consistency level of Animesh, okay, this will be you in August 2026. Right now, for that, what you need to this is the timeline which Animesh followed, which you will be also following. Right. First stage is like this. When after theoretical understanding, when you start writing Samachar Manthan, okay, that is mastering structuring and the demand understanding, which is the static part of the answer writing. It takes around 2 months. That is till April, March and April. So you will be writing around first 8 Samachar Manthans. Into that, we will get the proper understanding of the structuring and the demands, IBC framework, SES framework. And at the end of the April, you will be able to at least structure your points properly or structure your answer properly as per the demand of the question. Then once you understand that, okay, you will move on to the advanced stage where you will focus upon the presentation and innovation, where after this April, you will try to incorporate the diagrams, maps, flowcharts into your answers. That will take around 1 month and around 4 Samachar Manthans. Right. So by May end, if you start from February, in March, April, and May, in 3 months, okay, along with writing the Samachar Manthan in GS, you will be covering your big 5. That is polity, economy, geography, environment, and this history. In the 3 months, you will be covering the static part of the GS. So your base to write the GS answers is also prepared. Right? So from June onwards, once you understand these aspects, you can shift from Samachar Manthan to the mains tests of the GS. So from June onwards itself, you can shift from big 5, that is these 5 subjects, to BOSS 4. BOSS 4 are your 4 GS papers. Right? And where from June onwards itself, you will be writing your full length tests of 20 questions. Okay, if you follow the process that 90% of the aspirants follow, first I will consolidate the content and then I will start the answer writing. You will be, or you will never be able to write the answers till your mains, even if you clear the prelims. But if you follow the process followed by Animesh, you will be able to write the full length test of 20 questions from June itself. That is just from 4 months from now. Right? And along with writing the full length tests of the GS, you will go for the notes consolidation and continuous practice. So from June, July, August, September, and October, in these 5 months, you will be writing your MEP test. Simultaneously, you will be consolidating your notes. Right? And in this, you will be writing MEP, that is sectional tests of polity, economics, geography, society, social justice, and all. Right? And once your notes are complete, and once you consolidate, you will be shifting to the FLTs, that is the papers of GS 1, 2, 3, 4 from October itself. So November, December, and January, in 3 months, you will be revising your entire content and you will be attempting the full length tests of the GS paper till January end. And from February, you will shift to your prelims. So this is the timeline that you need to follow. And if you follow this timeline rigorously, with discipline, with dedication, with commitment, trust me, you will be writing minimum of the 500 answers. You can by January end, you will reach from this stage to this stage. And after the prelims, from this to this. Okay, if you start from this level after the prelims, which 90% of the aspirants do, the maximum that you can reach to this level, but you can never reach to this level. Yeah, that is the difference. Right? So start early, start answer writing as soon as possible. Don't wait for completion of the syllabus or completion of the subject. Right? Yes. So I hope you enjoyed this session.